Section 6. The various forms of Istekhara. Istekhara by supplication. 16. The recitation of the phrase, I seek the best from Allah, and the number of times to recite. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, in the case of an important action, recite, I seek the best from Allah, 101 times, and for a lesser important action, recite it 10 times. 17. The supplication for seeking the best and the number of times to recite it. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, no servant asks Allah for the best 70 times in this method except that Allah gives him what is best, and he should say, O the best seer of seers, and O the best hearer of hearers, and O the quickest of reckoners, and O the most merciful, and O the judge of judges, send your blessings on Muhammad and his family, and grant me the best in the action which I have intended to perform. 18. The supplication for asking for the best, Istekhara. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, say the following supplication. O Allah, I ask you for the best by your mercy and by your power, since you alone are the knower of the unseen and the seen, the most beneficent, the most merciful. So I ask you that you send blessings on Muhammad, the Prophet, and his family, just as you have sent blessings on Abraham and the family of Abraham, since verily you are the praiseworthy and glorious. O Allah, if there is good in this act which I have made the intention to perform for my religion, or my worldly affairs and my hereafter, then make the task easy for me, and if it is not like this, then turn it away from me, and let me turn away from it too. 19. The method of seeking the best from Imam al-Baqir, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Baqir, peace be upon him, said, there is no servant who seeks the best from Allah 100 times by saying the following, except that Allah guides him to one of the two paths. O Allah, the knower of the hidden and apparent, if in this action there is good for the affairs of my world and my hereafter, then make it easy for me, and open up the doors of it for me, and make my pleasure be in that which you have decreed. 20. The method of seeking the best as practiced by Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, there is no servant of Allah that honor, glorifies and praises Allah, and sends blessings on the Prophet and his family, peace be upon him, and says, O Allah, verily I ask you, since verily you are the knower of the hidden and the apparent, the beneficent, the merciful, and you are the knower of all the unknowns. I seek the best from Allah by His mercy, if the matter is something important in which there is some fear or distress. Then the above supplication should be read 100 times. And in other than this, it can be read 3 times. 21. The method of seeking the best from Imam Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kazim, peace be upon him. A man entered into the presence of him, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, peace be upon him, and said to him, May I be sacrificed for you? I want to perform a certain task. Please teach me the way to ask the best from Allah, such that if in that work there is good for me, that Allah makes it easy for me, and if there is bad in it for me, then Allah makes me turn away from it. The Imam, peace be upon him, said to the man, "Do you want to do that task?" The man replied, "Yes." The Imam replied, "Say the following, so that Allah makes what is good for you in the performance of that act. O Allah, decree for me this, and place goodness in it for me, since verily you are the one who decrees in this." 22. Asking for what is best in the dua of the Istekhara. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "Your seeking the best must be accompanied with requesting something that is good. Since sometimes it is possible that what is best for a person lies in his hand being cut off, the death of his child, and the loss of his wealth and property." 23. The method of seeking the best is done by the Prophet of Allah, peace be upon him. The Prophet of Islam said, "O Anas, any time you want to perform an act, then before you do it, ask Allah for the best 7 times, and then see what answer, either to perform it or not to perform that task, comes into your heart. That which is the best for you will be the response, meaning whatever is in your heart should be acted upon. Allah is the changer of hearts and desires, and He has the power to guide His servants and remove all doubts and indecision from their hearts." 24. The method of seeking the best is done by Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Bakir, peace be upon him, narrated that Amir al-Mu'mineen, peace be upon him, would pray a 2-rakat salat, and once finished would say, "I seek the best from Allah 100 times, and then say, O Allah, I have intended to perform a task which you know. Thus, if you know that in it there is good for me in this world, in my religion, and in the hereafter, then make it, that task, easy for me. And if you know that in it there is bad for me in this world, in my religion, and in the hereafter, then let me turn away from that task, whether I detest that task or I love it, since you know better than I, and I do not know, and you are the knower of the unseen. Then act according to whatever you feel in your heart." 25. The Istekhara from the heart, seeking advice from Allah. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, when any of you want something, you must seek counsel with Allah, your Lord, and act according to it. If He guides you to it, then perform the act, and if He does not guide you to it, then do not perform it. A man questioned. I said, "O Master, and how will we know this?" The Imam replied, "Go into sajda after your wajib salat, and say the following 100 times. O Allah, grant me what is best. Then perform tawassul to us, the Ahl al-Bayt, and send blessings upon us, and take us as your intercessors. Then look at what is revealed into your heart, and act according to it. And this is the seeking counsel with Him, Allah." 26. The method of seeking the best from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "Recite a 2-rakat salat, and then ask the best from Allah 101 times. and see which of the two ways, either to perform that act or not to perform it, is stronger in your heart, and act accordingly, since whatever is best for you is in that. Insha'Allah. The only person who will be able to make use of this method of seeking what is best is the one whose heart has been purified of the various types of whispers of Satan, and whose heart has not become polluted with sins. Such a heart is one that still has the desire and capability of receiving the heavenly inspiration of Allah. '27. The method of seeking the best from Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Rida, peace be upon him, said, "When you intend to do something, pray a 2 rakat salat and seek the best from Allah 100 times. Then whatever is stronger in your heart, perform that. In your supplication, recite, there is no God except Allah, the highest, the greatest. There is no God except Allah, the patient, the noble, the Lord of Muhammad and Ali. Grant me the best in my action for this world, and for the next world, the best from yourself, that in which your pleasure lies in, and which is good for me for the goodness of the next world, O possessor of blessings and mercy." 28. Seeking the best by asking others for advice. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "Any time one of you wishes to do something, then do not ask the advice of anyone until you ask advice from Allah, the Glorious, the Most High, in such a way that you initially start out by asking Allah for the best in that act, and then you take advice from others in that action. Thus, since you have first asked Allah for what is best, then He will have whatever is best for you come out from the mouth of whosoever of His creations that He pleases." 29. The method of seeking the best by Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "If you wish to do anything, then do not consult anybody until you have consulted with your Lord. Say, I seek the best from Allah 100 times, and then seek consultation from people, since Allah will make whatever is best for you, your answer, flow from the mouth of one whom He loves." The narrations regarding seeking the best by way of consulting with others, in addition to confirming the need to ask others for advice and help, tell us that this action is very effective for one who is confused and does not know which path to choose. After reciting the supplications and asking Allah for what is truly the best, asking others for advice has been highly recommended. Only with the help of Allah is one able to benefit from seeking counsel and advice from others to secure what is truly the best for one's self. It is only with humble supplications and asking Allah for the best that one can actually reach a state of satisfaction. Seeking advice and counsel from others has been reckoned as one of the best teachers and guides. However, one should only seek counsel after asking Allah for what is best, and then seek advice from those people one is close to who are worthy of taking advice from. People who are pious Those who keep away from following their low desires, the people who are humble towards their Lord, and those who have knowledge and experience in life are examples of people one should request help and advice from. 30. Seeking the best by the Quran as done by the Prophet of Allah. The Prophet of Allah said, "Whenever you want to seek the best by the Book of Allah, the Glorious, the Great, recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times, send blessings on the Prophet and his family 3 times, then say, O Allah, I am seeking the best by your book, and I am relying upon you. So show me from your book that what is written from your secrets and known from your unseen knowledge. Then open the Quran and take what is best for you from beginning of the first line on the right side page." There is no problem or religious taboo in performing the Istekhara by the Quran, since asking Allah for the best, whether it be by the Quran or tasbih beads, is permitted when a person cannot come to a conclusion. After reciting the supplications, asking Allah for the best, research and investigation, and having asked others for advice, if one is still in doubt and indecisive whether to perform or to leave a certain task, then in this scenario, he is permitted to turn to Allah and either through the tasbih beads or the Quran seek guidance from Allah. If the Istekhara comes out good, then one should perform the task and be at ease. And if it comes out bad, then one should put complete trust and reliance upon Allah and not go through with one's plans. The method of determining whether the outcome is good or bad from the Quran is that after all the etiquette and conditions of performing the Istekhara by the Quran have been fulfilled, if the verse that comes is one that contains a command to something good, a description of the believers, the rewards of those who will dwell in paradise or the glad tidings of paradise, then that Istekhara will indicate good, and one should proceed with the intended act with peace in his heart. However, if the verse that comes mentions the anger or punishment of Allah, prohibition from evil, descriptions of the non-believers and the hypocrites, explanation or description of the punishment of hell, then one should seek refuge with Allah and should not perform the intended task. If the verse that comes is one in between these two types, then the Istekhara should be taken as neutral. 31. Method of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "If you intend to perform Istekhara from the noble book, Quran, then say, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. O Allah, if in your plan and destiny, which you have bestowed on the Shia of the family of Muhammad, with the speedy return of your guardian and representative over your creations, then show us a verse from your book that will guide us to it, that which is good. Then open the book, Quran, and go forward 6 pages. And on the 7th page, look at the 6th line, and take act upon what is in that verse. By no means does the Istekhara by the Quran or with the tasbih beads, even after following the etiquette, and all of the prerequisites prevent one from using his brain, or reasoning and seeking advice from others. This is also not future-telling. Rather, if after one has thought about the task that one wants to perform, has weighed the pros and cons, and has taken advice from others, and is still in doubt, then at this point, these types of istikharas come into play. 32. Istekhara by the Quran before Salat. Al-Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "When you wake up for Salat, see what is in your heart, and take that step, since the devil is far away from the person who rises up for Salat. Or open the Quran and take what you see on the first line on the right-hand side of the page, and act upon it, and whatever is good for you will be in that, God willing." That which has been mentioned in the beginning of this hadith regarding the performance of the istikhara by the Quran is only after the dua and supplication for istikhara, and asking the best from Allah have been exhausted. This form of istikhara is only permissible when doubt still remains after deep thinking, pondering on the subject, and seeking advice from others. The above was mentioned since the relator of this hadith, Yasa Kumi, had asked the Imam that when he intended to perform a certain action and had asked Allah to guide him to what was the best for him, but he did not come to a clear-cut answer, and doubt and indecision still existed within him. It was at this time that the Imam spoke the words that have been quoted above. 33. Istekhara by the Quran, not by augury, future-telling. Al-Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, "Do not perform the augury by the Quran." The meaning of performing the augury by the Quran in the above hadith, which has been forbidden, is to seek the knowledge of the unseen. Foretelling future events and trying to find out the outcome of actions that one will perform in the future. However, seeking the best by the Quran, which has even been emphasized in the Holy Book, in reality is just to remove doubt and uncertainty and to guide the person to choose one of two paths, either to perform or refrain from a certain act. In addition, one must pay close attention to the fact that in no instance should the istikhara, be it by the Quran, the tasbih beads, or papers, be performed before using one's own God-given intelligence or asking others for advice and guidance. These three types of istikhara do not specify one's responsibility. Rather, they just guide a person and remove the doubt and uncertainty from one's mind. That too, after the person has thought about the task, asked advice from others, and is still at a dead end. 34. Istekhara by tasbih beads by Imam al-Zamana. It has been narrated from Al-Qaim regarding the istikhara by the tasbih that the tasbih should be taken in the hand and blessings should be sent on Muhammad and his family, peace be upon him, 3 times, and then pick a spot on the bead and count them 2 by 2. If at the end only 1 bead remains, then you should perform that action, and if 2 beads remain, then you should not perform it. 35. Istekhara by papers. Al-Imam al-Baqir, peace be upon him, said, "If you intend to do something, then take 6 pieces of paper, and on 3 of them write, 'In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Goodness is from Allah, the great, the wise. For Fulan, the son of Fulan, put your name here. He will do it.' On the other 3 pieces of paper write, 'In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Goodness is from Allah, the great, the wise. For Fulan, the son of Fulan, put your name here. He will not do it.' Then place them under your prayer mat, read a 2 rak'at salat, and when you finish, go into sajda and recite the following 100 times. 'I seek that which is good from Allah through His mercy, the goodness for the outcome.' Then get up, and while sitting, say, following this with your hand, shuffle the 6 papers, and one by one, choose 3 of them. If 3 of the cards come up with, then perform the action that you had intended to do. However, if 3 of the cards come up with, then do not perform that action which you had intended to do. If one of the cards said to perform the act, and the other one said not to perform the act, then pick up the cards until you have picked up 5 and see which of them is more, and act according to it. And it is not necessary to pick up the 6th one.